Have you ever wondered why the wisest people are often the ones who speak the least? In modern life, where everyone wants to voice their opinions, make their points, and sometimes argue to win, silence can easily be misunderstood as weakness or avoidance. However, Stoic philosophy offers a different and profound perspective. Silence is one of the highest expressions of inner strength and self-control. Silence is not about avoiding problems or fearing confrontation. On the contrary, it is a sign of a steady soul that understands not all words are necessary, and sometimes stillness can transform our lives more powerfully than any spoken word. When we know when to remain silent, we preserve inner peace and elevate our value, earning respect and admiration from others. On the path of personal development and the pursuit of happiness, there are 5 situations where silence becomes a precious gem, helping us stay grounded and weather the storms of life. Comment below, "I'm ready for this journey," and together, we'll explore these 5 moments and learn how to use silence as a powerful tool, not only to enhance our worth, but to live a deeper, more meaningful life each day. Number 1. Silence when offended. Have you ever been offended by harsh words or unnecessary actions from others and immediately felt a surge of anger rising within you? In those moments, emotions seem to overpower reason, and we feel the need to react to protect ourselves. However, Stoic philosophy offers a very different and profound piece of advice. Stay silent. Don't let the words or actions of those who offend you affect your inner peace. But why? Because silence in these moments is not a sign of weakness, but a display of immense inner strength and self-control. In Stoic philosophy, one of the core principles is to control oneself and not let external events disturb one's inner state. When offended, the immediate response is often anger, a natural human emotion. But what Stoic philosophy advises us is to not let that anger overshadow our reason. Anger can lead us to make mistakes and say things we may later regret. When we react impulsively, the offender succeeds in shaking the peace within our minds. On the other hand, remaining silent in the face of offense is a wise move, showing that we are in control of ourselves, not allowing others to dictate our emotions. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." An insult, in itself, is just a string of meaningless words. It is how we perceive and react to it that determines whether those words will affect us. By choosing silence, we refuse to let those insults penetrate our inner being. When we don't react, the offender loses their power over us, and we maintain our serenity. Consider an everyday example. A leader facing unjust criticism from subordinates, instead of reacting in anger, remains silent and listens. Not only do they maintain their composure, but also display the strength of a true leader. This silence not only helps them stay grounded, but also provides an opportunity for thoughtful reflection, avoiding rash decisions made in the heat of offense. Similarly, in family relationships, when a spouse is offended during an argument, if they choose silence rather than retaliating with harsh words, they can prevent the conflict from escalating. Silence here does not mean conceding defeat, but rather creating space for both sides to calm down and reflect more clearly. Conversely, what happens when you respond immediately to an insult? Often, it leads to an endless argument, and neither party feels better afterward. Your mood will be affected. You may say things you shouldn't, and your life could be disrupted. On the other hand, if you remain silent, the anger will subside over time, and sometimes the offender may even regret their actions. Think about it. When you react quickly, don't you often feel regret for letting your emotions take over? And on the contrary, when you choose silence, don't you feel stronger and more peaceful after overcoming the situation? By choosing silence, you not only protect yourself, but also give others a chance to reconsider their actions. For instance, if someone criticizes you unfairly, but you don't react, your silence might make them question whether what they said was justified. Often, silence is a powerful tool to change someone's attitude. The philosopher Seneca once said, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." This is the power of silence. Instead of focusing on criticism, we concentrate on maintaining our inner peace because our value does not lie in others' opinions, but in how we perceive ourselves. In many life situations, reacting to insults seems like the easiest and most natural choice. But when we understand the value of silence through the lens of Stoicism, we realize that it is the smarter and deeper option. Silence helps us avoid being drawn into the whirlpool of negative emotions, allows us to protect our self-worth, and helps us maintain balance in life. So, the next time you're offended, will you choose silence or retaliation? Will you allow others' words to control your mood, or will you prove that you are stronger by maintaining your calm? Silence in these moments is the mark of a strong, self-disciplined soul, one that is not easily shaken. And that, according to Stoic philosophy, is the true value of a person. Number 2, silence in conflict. In life, conflict is unavoidable. From minor disputes with family and friends to heated arguments at work, we often find ourselves in situations where anger can easily flare up. In those moments, we tend to want to speak up, fight for our position, defend ourselves, or simply release our frustration. But have you ever asked yourself, what do we truly gain from these fiery arguments? Can angry words solve the problem, or do they only make the situation worse? According to Stoic philosophy, silence in the face of conflict is not a sign of avoidance or weakness, but an act of self-control and calmness, helping us rise above negative emotions. There's an old saying, anger begins with madness and ends with regret. This reminds us that when faced with conflict, reacting emotionally will only lead to outcomes we may regret. On the contrary, silence can help us maintain composure and avoid unnecessary mistakes. Being silent in tense situations does not mean giving up your rights or letting others dominate you. It is a way to pause, listen, and reflect, preventing emotions from controlling our actions. In moments of anger, words can become weapons, but these weapons often harm both the user and the target. Consider a modern-day example. Imagine you're in an important meeting, and a colleague suddenly harshly criticizes your idea in front of everyone. Most of us would naturally feel hurt and want to immediately counterattack. But if you pause, stay silent, and listen instead, you may realize that the criticism could stem from a misunderstanding or personal feelings. By staying silent and not reacting hastily, you not only maintain the respect of those around you, but also give yourself the chance to think more deeply and respond wisely. Research in psychology has shown that when a person is angry, remaining silent for a few seconds can significantly reduce the intensity of their negative emotions. This suggests that sometimes silence is not just a way to avoid conflict, but a means of adjusting our own emotions. Have you ever tried staying silent during an argument? Did you notice how silence allowed you to observe what was happening both inside and outside? In Stoic philosophy, one of the key principles is the ability to listen and understand. Epictetus once taught, We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. When we remain silent during conflict, we create space to listen to others while also reflecting on ourselves. Silence allows us to view the problem from multiple angles rather than reacting instinctively. Another example from daily life is family relationships. Many times, we argue with loved ones and later regret the harsh words spoken in anger. But if, at that moment, we had chosen silence, controlling our emotions and listening to the other person, we might have realized that everyone has their reasoning and feelings. Silence and calmness can help heal the cracks in relationships, rather than letting angry words destroy them. Silence in conflict does not come naturally. It requires practice and strong willpower. Practicing silence requires us to be fully aware of our emotions and understand that anger, jealousy, or pride are just fleeting reactions, not our true selves. One way to practice silence is by starting with small, daily conflicts. When you face a situation that frustrates you, try remaining silent for a few seconds, focusing on your breath and observing your emotions. This not only helps you manage the situation better, but also develops inner calm. Silence in conflict is not just a strategy to prevent escalation, it is a sign of maturity and understanding. Stoic philosophy teaches us that self-control, emotional regulation, and calmness in the face of challenges are the keys to living a peaceful and meaningful life. When we know how to stay silent in tense situations, we protect ourselves and bring harmony to the relationships around us. So, the next time you face conflict, how will you choose to react? Will you challenge yourself to remain silent and listen more? You'll discover that sometimes silence is the most powerful response. Before we dive into situation 3, we want to take a moment to thank you for joining us on this journey halfway through the video. Every moment offers an opportunity to learn and grow, and your presence here, listening and reflecting with us, is a tremendous gift that I appreciate with each passing minute. Number 3. Silence when there's nothing valuable to say. As a Stoic philosopher, I firmly believe that the power of words lies not only in what we say, but also in our ability to remain silent when there is nothing valuable to contribute. Stoicism emphasizes that words are powerful tools, but if not used wisely, they can become harmful weapons, damaging both ourselves and others. In a world full of noise, silence can sometimes be a sign of wisdom and clarity. The concept of silence when there is nothing valuable to say is one of the key principles of Stoicism. Ask yourself, how many times have you spoken just to fill a gap, to feel included, or to prove that you have something to say? Empty words that carry no meaning not only fail to add value, but can sometimes diminish the respect others have for you. Stoicism teaches us to control our actions and words, not to please others but to protect the peace of our minds. When you speak without anything of value to say, you are expending mental energy that could be better spent reflecting, listening, and learning. On the other hand, when you choose to remain silent, you conserve energy and create space for truly meaningful words to be heard. A common example in daily life is during meetings, gatherings with friends, or group discussions. Many people have the habit of wanting to express their personal opinions, even when what they say doesn't add anything new or relevant to the conversation. The result is that the dialogue becomes cluttered, strays off course, and those with something meaningful to contribute often find their voices drowned out by the noise. In such cases, silence is not only a sign of respect for others, but also respect for yourself. In many situations, Silence allows us to listen deeply, not only to others, but also to our inner voice. Immerse yourself in your reflections as your inner self holds profound silence and boundless tranquility. In silence, we have the chance to reflect, analyze, and gain a deeper understanding of what we hear. Think back to the last time you were involved in a tense conversation where everyone was talking over each other, but no one was listening. Did you feel drained? In situations like this, silence allows you to remain calm, listen, and fully understand the perspectives before deciding if there is anything you need to say. When we stay silent, we not only hear others, but also give ourselves the chance to think more deeply. The wisest people are often the ones who speak the least. It's not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand that words should only be spoken when they are necessary and meaningful. Ask yourself, do you want to be remembered as someone who listens, understands, and speaks only when it adds value? Or as someone who speaks frequently but rarely leaves a lasting impression? The ancient Greeks said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." This holds not only in philosophy but in everyday life. Consider great leaders who don't always speak a lot, but when they do, the room falls silent to listen. This isn't just respect for their position, it's respect for the strength and weight of their words. We live in an era where everyone has a voice, and thanks to technology, anyone can broadcast their thoughts to the world with the click of a button. But this has diluted the value of words. That's why silence has become more precious than ever. Sometimes, not speaking is the most powerful way to make your point. Silence isn't just about not talking, it's about knowing when to speak and when to hold back. Silence, through the Stoic lens, is a manifestation of inner restraint, understanding, and mental strength. Only when we master the ability to remain silent, when there is nothing of value to say, do we truly begin to control our words and actions. Have you ever experienced the power of silence in your life? Try staying silent in moments when you would normally feel the need to speak and observe how the world around you changes. Number 4, silence to listen and learn. Have you ever wondered why truly wise people often remain silent and listen more than they speak? In Stoic philosophy, listening is a meaningful act. It is not merely about gathering information, but also about cultivating calmness, developing wisdom, and understanding both yourself and the world around you. Silence while listening is not a sign of passivity or blind acceptance. Rather, it is the mark of a mature soul who knows when to speak and when to learn from others. Think about how many times you've been in a conversation and genuinely listened, or were you simply waiting for your turn to speak? We often get caught up in arguing or defending our viewpoints and forget that sincere listening is an art form. When you listen in silence, you not only learn from others, but also gain a deeper understanding of yourself. In the modern world, where information is abundant and everyone wants to express their opinions, listening has become more valuable than ever. Silence during listening brings benefits not only to you but also to your relationships with others. First, listening helps us learn. Silence creates space for the knowledge of others to flow in. If you are always speaking, how can you absorb new ideas or different perspectives? Those who are good listeners are often the most intelligent and insightful individuals. They understand that knowledge doesn't come solely from books or personal experience, but from continuous learning from others. For example, in the workplace, successful leaders are not those who always speak, but those who know how to listen to their employees. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, was known to be a man of few words in early meetings. He would listen to the ideas of his team before offering his thoughts. This not only allowed him to gather fresh perspectives, but also conveyed a sense of respect and value for others. His silence created a space where collective intelligence could thrive, rather than imposing his perspective. Second, listening strengthens relationships. When you listen to someone sincerely, you are sending a message that you value them and what they are saying. Silence isn't merely the absence of speech. It is an active engagement, a demonstration of care. This is especially crucial in personal relationships. In marriage or friendships, sometimes a listening ear can be more powerful than comforting words or advice. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher emperor of Rome, reminded us that listening is not just about receiving information, but about building connections with others. Finally, listening cultivates inner calm. When we are silent and listen, we learn to restrain our emotions, control the rush of thoughts in our minds, and focus on the present moment. Stoic philosophy always emphasizes the importance of living in the present, and listening is one way to practice this. When we listen without being distracted by other thoughts, we are truly living in that moment. And in the quiet of the mind, we can gain deeper insights into the nature of life. How can you practice silence and listening in daily life? The first step is to resist the urge to speak immediately. Try pausing before responding in a conversation to think about what the other person has just said. This not only helps you understand them better, but also gives room for wisdom and thoughtfulness to develop. Second, create moments of quiet in your day. Sometimes, in the hustle and bustle of life, we forget the value of silence. Taking a few minutes each day to reflect and listen to your inner voice will help you become more calm and clear-minded. Listening and silence are not signs of weakness, but are among the most powerful skills we can develop. In Stoic philosophy, silence is a way to train the mind, to stay away from distractions and impulsiveness, and to live a more meaningful life. When you know how to listen, you not only learn from others, but also find peace and wisdom within your soul. So, the next time you're in a conversation, try to remain silent, listen, and feel the difference it makes. Next, let's move on to the final sign. But before that, I have a question for you. Have you ever regretted making a hasty decision, only to realize later that you should have taken more time to think it through? This question invites us to reflect on situation 5, silence before making an important decision. Number 5, silence before making important decisions. In life, important moments often arrive without warning, and we can easily be swept up by fleeting emotions, making decisions that might affect our entire future. That's why, for a Stoic philosopher, silence before making crucial decisions is not only necessary, but also a sign of deep wisdom and unwavering resolve. Stoicism emphasizes self-control, restraint, and calmness in all situations. In moments when we face important decisions, silence acts as a powerful tool that helps us avoid the trap of impulsive emotions and instinctual reactions. Choosing silence and giving yourself time for deep reflection allows you to step back from the grip of temporary emotions, leading to clearer, wiser decisions. Imagine you're faced with a critical career decision. A sudden promotion opportunity presents itself, but you also realize that accepting it could take away valuable time with your family. If you respond immediately out of emotion, you may be tempted by the allure of success and overlook the potential consequences. But if you choose silence, pausing to reflect, you can see the bigger picture more clearly. Silence not only gives you time to analyze the pros and cons, but also helps you listen to your heart and determine what truly matters to you. In that silence, you may realize that true success isn't just about fame, but about balancing work and personal life. Another common situation is in romantic relationships. At times, arguments or misunderstandings may make us feel the urge to speak our minds immediately. But in the heat of anger, those words may cause deep wounds that cannot easily heal. Silence in such moments isn't about surrendering. It's a way to maintain calm and thoughtful reflection. By staying silent, we give ourselves the chance to see the problem from a different perspective, understand our partner's emotions better, and observe the situation more fully. This allows us to make decisions based not just on fleeting emotions, but on understanding and compassion. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher-emperor, reminded us in his meditations, "When the force of circumstance upsets your equanimity, lose no time in recovering your self-control, and do not remain out of tune longer than you can help." This is precious advice for anyone standing at life's crossroads. Silence is not only a way to protect ourselves from mistakes driven by emotions, but also an opportunity to reconnect with our true selves and the core values we stand for. A historical example of the power of silence before making a critical decision is Abraham Lincoln during the U.S. Civil War. When he received a harshly critical letter from General George McClellan, instead of reacting immediately with anger or retaliation, Lincoln chose silence. He took time to reflect and ultimately decided not to send any response. This helped preserve their professional relationship and allowed Lincoln to focus on more important decisions that guided the nation through difficult times. So, what can we learn from the power of silence before making important decisions? It teaches us the strength of restraint and the wisdom to pause and reflect before acting. A question each of us should ask ourselves is the decision I'm about to make truly the right one, or is it a hasty reaction made in a moment of emotional unrest? Do I have the courage to be silent and let clarity lead the way? Silence doesn't mean inaction, it means acting with wisdom and caution. In our modern world, where the pressure to make quick decisions often weighs heavily on us, silence before making crucial choices becomes a precious value, allowing us to regain peace and certainty with every step. Let silence be your companion on the journey of growth and building a better life each day. Silence becomes a trusted companion. It helps us overcome impulsiveness, control our instincts, and open the path to wisdom. In that stillness, our value is etched, not through empty words, but through mindful actions and self-respect. Let silence be your secret weapon, helping you not only become more valuable, but also live more deeply and peacefully amidst the rush of life. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the value of a person is not only found in what they say, but in the moments when they choose to say nothing. When we know how to remain silent at the right time, we not only show respect for others, but also for ourselves, because silence allows us to reflect more deeply, act more wisely, and live a more meaningful life. Let Stoicism guide you through every challenge so that one day you can look back and proudly say, "I have overcome, I have succeeded." That is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and the world. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to spread this philosophy to others. Keep watching for more Stoic lessons featured at the end of this video. Together, we can make the world a better place.